Can you hear me? So the name of the NGO is actually Save Estonia's Forests. Something got lost in translation when writing down our name. But actually, a few words about me. In difference to most of you, I'm not a scientist. I have not studied forestry or ecology, nothing like that. I have studied different foreign languages, European Union studies, and I have MA in interpreting. And I just mentioned, Mary, that this year I'm celebrating a 20-year anniversary of working as interpreter for the EU institutions. So actually, now, September, October, 20 years ago is when I started. I also work as a part-time teacher, and I'm member of board in the Estonian Nature Tourism Association. But, 4 years ago, I founded the NGO, Save Estonia's Forest. Not alone anymore, it's not a one-woman show. Because, the situation of Estonia's forest is so bad that people from all different fields of life feel obliged to do something, even if you have not studied forestry or ecology before. And most of us, we work on a voluntary basis. Only during the last 12 months, due to some project funding, I have actually transferred certain amounts to my account from my NGO account. So, but most of the smaller NGOs in Estonia, they are completely on voluntary basis. So, let's go then. So today I was asked to speak about this part of our activities, which involves around the court cases. I'm going to speak about the reasons behind choosing the way of litigation, our, past and ongoing cases, lessons learned, our main wins, and possible new court cases in the near future. So, reasons for choosing litigation. As you probably know and can imagine, there are different ways you can do. You can start petitions, you can do demonstrations, you can be active on social media, you can write opinion pieces in the mainstream media, you can lobby, you can meet politicians. Anything else? Yeah, and then come court cases, right. So sometimes these other means work and bring the desired result, sometimes not. Well, this is one of the reasons we have so many different court cases pending right now. And one of the most important reasons was also meeting Mary Booth and PFBI already at the end of the first year of our activity, and we also have good cooperation with local partners in Estonia, other NGOs. Especially, I would like to stress BirdLife Estonia. We're both fighting vehemently for the nesting peace. And we have faith in the impartiality of the Estonian judiciary. The same can't be said about all other government bodies, I must say, but courts, yes, we believe in them. And we also have a sufficient number of trustworthy lawyers we work with. We mainly work with the Estonian Environmental Law Center, but also with 2 different law firms at the moment, and we will start working with the 3rd. So, past and ongoing cases. If you asked me how many court cases we have at the moment, I couldn't tell you. I've lost count. Because often when we challenge the logging permits in state forests, then it is so that we try to group the permits together into one case. But for every little patch, sometimes for 1 hectare, they give a single permit. So, and then the court says that no, you can't put it all together. And sometimes it's so that we started with one case and we ended up having 20. So this is the reason, also challenging the logging permits of the State Forest Management Center, why I couldn't tell you how many cases we have got. And the state forest comprises approximately 50% of Estonia's forest, so it's almost 50-50. And that's how they log. And that's something we don't want to have, well, ideally nowhere in our forests, but especially in forests important for local communities. These are forests close to villages and small towns where people go to pick mushrooms and berries, and which they use for all kind of recreational purposes, etc. So people living in the countryside usually have quite tight connection to forests surrounding them, and as I said, they do different things there. And of course, we must also take into account like noise barriers and like forests acting as a noise barrier between, let's say, a village and a bigger road, and also the clean air and all the other aspects. So, and this is the reason why many local communities contact us or other similar NGOs asking whether we can help them with litigation against the State Forest Management Center. In case of such kind of community forests, they organize actually like meetings with locals and hearings and stuff like that, so it looks good on paper. But when local people say that, okay, we don't want to have clear cuts, we would like to have close to nature forestry, then the State Forest Management Center just copy-paste the same answer. Not possible here. No, not possible. This is not forest type for close to nature forestry. So there's such kind of standard answers, and then eventually, if you want to save your forest, you end up in court. And then there are other cases, Nesting Peace, BirdLife Estonia as cooperation partner. Well, then we have the statistical forest inventory data case with 2 other NGOs. This is interesting. Scientists and data analysts have found out that there is a big discrepancy in our forestry data. When you I'm not an expert, so I can tell you just very simply that when you use different calculation methods, or somehow you end up with like a 20% difference. So there is something wrong. And the scientists, they would like to have access to the basic data, the points which are on the ground where they go and see whether the forest stock is still there. And our environmental agency, which is the government body responsible for the data, has refused to make this data accessible for scientists. They're not asking for anybody, but scientists, no. They say that there is a big threat that it will be leaked, and then somehow people will start manipulating with the fact that they know where the measurement points are. But the fact is that actually the industry knows it anyway. And some investigative journalists with deep interest in data analysis have actually also calculated and hacked. So we actually know where the points are, but we can't challenge the data of the environmental agency if we say that we sort of hacked your information or we just somehow deducted it. So we need it officially. And then we went to court, and the court first instance said that we must ask the European Court of Justice for the preliminary ruling. They got it. It was positive for us. But the climate ministry pressured the environmental agency so that they appealed it to the second instance. And so we go probably until the end, until the third instance. So, but it's interesting what they are trying to hide, or are they just trying to drain us of our financial resources, or probably both. And then we have the very interesting Natura 2000 prohibition case together with PFBI and Lifescape Project, thanks to Mary again. So to sum it up, it means that the European Commission started an infringement procedure against Estonia because we were allowing logging in Natura 2000 areas and also in forest habitats without the proper Natura impact assessments. And then after some years and procedures, our environmental board decided that, okay, we will temporarily halt logging in the forest habitats, but not in all Natura 2000 areas covered with forests. And with that prohibition case, we are trying to save all forests from rejuvenation logging, which are Natura 2000 areas. So this is pending, ongoing, so this is very interesting. And then we have an interesting case concerning drainage close to Natura 2000 areas. This we are doing on our own. So it means like massive ditching, leading water from forests into a river, which is Natura 2000, and then eventually leading all this fresh water into the Baltic Sea. And doing all that at the time when our climate is getting warmer. We have always warmer summers now in Estonia. We have longer droughts in spring, and still our fresh water from forests and also partly wetlands is led like that into the Baltic Sea, which we don't want to have. So these are I would say, the four main cases we have now, in addition to the ones against our State Forest Management Center. And it might be that I forgot something, but this is the main part of it. And so here you can see how ditches and drainage, how it looks like. It's in my neighboring village in the countryside. These roads have never existed there before. They were just built overnight. And this is common practice in Estonia. This is nothing special. It is just something I discovered in the neighboring village 2 years ago. So first they did deforestation, of course, then many kilometers of that road, deep ditches. Here they are even not so deep as they are in some places, then big places where to store all the logs. And now they have logged approximately 80% of the forest standing next to these new roads. And that's what's usually done. As soon as a road like that is built, then there is a huge forest loss, like in Brazil, Sumatra, but this is Estonia. And also some examples of the quality of logging of the State Forest Management Center. Of course, they don't have their own people doing that. They have subcontractors, but they have a very weak system of surveillance and quality control. So things like that happen. So, lessons learned. Well, we have learned that people are quite willing to donate for litigation, but of course, especially now, going from one crisis to another, their resources are limited, and to have such kind of major cases like the Natura 2000 and also the nesting piece, etc., some bigger major sponsors are needed. Otherwise, we couldn't do so much. It is surprisingly hard to get scientific input. So this concerns Estonian scientists now. So I'm not speaking about you, but in Estonia we have encountered this problem that even we are not even asking for a free work, like we are willing to pay, but even then it's so hard to get an expert opinion. Sometimes people are just overloaded with work. I think they have all kind of project funding and they must fulfill all kind of stuff, so I understand that. But sometimes I think that the scientists are afraid to speak up. And even when we say that, you can say, building a disclaimer into your expert opinion, saying that I, John Smith, working as ecologist for the last 20 years, based on the facts and knowledge I have right that that you don't cause problems for yourself as a scientist for the future, but you can just say that I'm an expert and I think it is like that, based on the knowledge I have right now. That shouldn't be so hard, but in practice it has proven to be very hard, and in numerous cases we just struggle, and then we almost do the scientific work ourselves, like Google for all kind of documents and write long documents for our lawyers so that they could include it into their claims. So that has been quite a surprise for us. So I would suggest you, how many scientists do we have here in the room? Could you raise your hand, please? Oh, quite a few. So in case NGOs from your area contact you, so please help them. It might be quite useful. We have also seen that both lawyers and judges, they need education in environmental matters. Some judges actually have come to Forest with us, and also, of course, with the opposing party. So we have had some hearings in Forest. There was one case in close to Tartu in South Estonia, and it was about the spruce bark beetle and sanitary logging close to a town. And so we really went there and we took a look at the beetles and the trees, and that was interesting. Yeah. Then courts, they are independent, they are impartial in Estonia, but still, if you have like equal arguments, or at least the judge thinks that the arguments are equal, then they tend to believe the government institution. It's like in certain fields of life, women have to work harder in order to get acknowledged. And so we have the same feeling that we as NGO have to have more arguments in order to override the arguments of the environmental board, mostly, is our opponent. So then, the application of good judgments in practice. We have, both we and also other NGOs, we have got some really good court rulings, also from the highest court this year and last year. But then we have noticed that the environmental board does actually not want to implement these rulings in practice, and they are delaying the implementation and finding all kind of excuses as much as they can. So now we understand that we must actually control and surveil and monitor how they do it. So this is a new challenge for us. And then the last one, EU legal acts as means against Euroscepticism. Can you guess what I could mean by that? Not necessarily SLAP. It's so that in some cases the EU directives and regulations are actually our last hope, like especially when we speak about nesting peace. Now our highest court is waiting for the preliminary ruling from the European Court of Justice. And we have seen that nobody wants to introduce nesting peace so that you would have concrete dates. The climate ministry, heavily lobbied by the forest industry, is opposing it as long as they can. The environmental board is afraid to do something because they, work under the climate ministry and they get their commands from there. So actually we have, when it comes to nesting peace and saving our forest birds, we have done everything we can in Estonia. We can, of course, continue awareness raising and have a new petition and then some major demonstrations, but legally, we are waiting for the European Court of Justice. And it's often the same in some other cases, like in summer, during the summer holidays, we were bombarded with some new law proposals from the Ministry of Climate and changes to both our Forestry Act, Nature Conservation Act, the Spatial Planning Act, etc., etc. So And then they initially proposed that we could replace all our forests where alder is the dominating tree species, with plantations. So that would have been more than 200,000 hectares. And then, of course, the NGOs said that no, it's not compatible with the European Deforestation Act, right? So that you deforest, basically. You can't sell that timber in the EU. And then the lawyers of the climate ministry, they probably also came back from holidays and took a look at what the forestry department had done, and also said that, okay, guys, this doesn't work. But the quality of the law proposal was already on that kind of a low level. And this was one of the cases where the regulation, which is now postponed, actually helped us, because they took that part of their proposal at least out. And we have similar cases. And then when we get comments on social media about from certain people with extreme views, and very Eurosceptic views, then we can say that look, okay, we don't say that European Union is perfect, but at least environmental issues here, concretely, it helps us. So that Brussels here is actually cares more for our forest birds than we do. I mean, we, meaning our ministry at least. And we have lost about 25% of our forest bird population in the last decades. So, okay, let's move on. Main wins. The State Forest Management Center did not they didn't do like a slap against us, but they tried to ask as much money from us as their judicial costs as possible. At some point, they wanted almost 20,000 euros from us. And then we appealed, of course, these decisions, and then it was decided that the State Forest Management Center will not be a third party in a case where we or another NGO challenges the logging permits they have asked from the Environmental Board, so that we only deal with the Environmental Board, and they don't have so much money as the State Forest Management Center does, so they are less to appeal. So it's a very big win for us and also for other NGOs, because you can't go against private, big logging companies, and we couldn't go against Granul Invest. It would be a suicide, or we would have to have a really, really good case or something. So actually, when we want to save some forests, and the forests close to the local communities are usually state-owned, then we have better chances for litigation now. Then also some new procedures concerning logging permits have been introduced after some cases we have won and some cases other NGOs have won. The discretionary power of the Environmental Board has been confirmed. And what's also very important, Estonian Environmental Law Center has done an analysis of all forest-related cases from 2020 to 2023, and we have commissioned the translation. It is in final stages, so I can share it with you in a week or two. I really hope that it will be ready by the conference, but not. It's a long analysis. So I will share it over the Forest Movement Europe list and some others. So whoever is not in that list and who would be interested in a legal analysis of Estonia's court cases, so then please let me know and I will do an email list. But if you are in the FME list, then you get it over there. So, possible new court cases in near future, or not so near. We might challenge the forest management plan if it is adopted. Lynx hunting, there is the pressure. It has been forbidden for 10 years because the population was in decline. So we must deal with such kind of things as well, because forest, it's not only trees, it's the whole ecosystem. And so lynx and the others are also an integral part of it. Then changes to the Forestry Act, the Nature Conservation Act, New Climate Act, protection of old parks. The Environmental Board is trying to get rid of the protection status of some old parks without doing any assessments, just like aesthetic view, some trees have fallen, things like that. Different court cases, strategic court cases stemming from the analysis. Forests important to local communities. Well, this is the endless struggle. And then we have a new thing. A Dutch startup is planning to build a methanol plant in southwest Estonia, which would consume nearly 1 million cubic meters of our forest wood, which is 1/10 of our logging volume. And so we are fighting against that at the moment as well. You will hear more about that also over the FME list. So these are the possible new court cases. If anybody knows any millionaires or billionaires who would like to support something, like the fight against lynx hunting, perhaps close to somebody's heart, let me know. Here, just some photos. I like to take photos. I'm a hobby photographer, and sometimes I just need this, reminder of whom we are fighting for. Here we have a great spotted woodpecker, I think, then a tawny owl, and then the small bird, actually not so small, but looking small, is a, can you guess who? The bird of prey there. Golden eagle? And not yet. A common buzzard. But close enough, yeah. And here we have whom? Who's the owl? It's a Ural owl, and the black one is, yeah, and then we have the golden eagles there. A pair lives not very far from my country home. They are in the first protection category, about 60 pairs in Estonia, nesting pairs. So then, here, I think everybody knows these nice guys. So, thank you.